I'm Jem Yoshioka. I'm a comic artist and illustrator based in Wellington, and I make webcomics, including Circuits and Veins and Folk Remedy. So Folk Remedy is my new comic. It's set in the Taisho era in Japan, but it's a fantasy Taisho. So I'm drawing a lot on my own research into my heritage and very much referencing as well yokai and Japanese folk tales. So it's a mix of folk tales and also traditional medicine. So that's where the name Folk Remedy has come from. Yeah, I do think a lot about the relationship that comics have as a medium between both digital and traditional. I think even when I work 100% in a digital fashion, I'm often working to bring in traditional feeling to a lot of what I'm doing. So I have, especially with Folk Remedy at the moment, a lot of quite textured brushes. I'm referencing a lot of like wood block printing techniques, especially like the shinhanga. So that's like the early 20th century Japanese print techniques. And so that's been a huge influence on the style and direction. So even though the process and workflows that I have are all 100% digital, it's important to me that there is this sort of synchronicity, I guess, between the traditional and the modern. It's like the great power that the internet has is, or the dream of the internet, I should say, is that it's this democratizing force. It's this idea that anybody with a dream can kind of go online and you can share the stories that you're really passionate about. And so there's a range of platforms that have been popping up to sort of fill that gap at the moment, so specifically Webtoon. And it doesn't matter who you are on there. If your story's good, then they're going to support you to make that happen, and you can find an audience for that. And so I think that's something that's really powerful, and we're seeing a lot more diversity, like a lot more women, a lot more people of gender and sexual diverse backgrounds, a lot more people who just aren't white men coming in, like non-cis, non-white men, and it's great to have this kind of this show that our stories don't have to be in the margins just because our identities have been marginalised. And yeah. So obviously Rachel Smythe, yeah, her work Laura Olympus has, I think, just absolutely blown everything out of the water, not just in terms of what can be done in New Zealand from a comics perspective, but really has completely changed the face of webcomics in the West. I also really love the work of Kay O'Neill, like their work around Tea Dragon Society and all of the incredible stuff that they've been able to build in terms of this beautiful narratives with these characters, but they're so grounded in this environment, and it's just so filled with love, and I think it's just amazing.
Yeah.